bit. Still getting set up here to crochet while we sit here. Kill time. Go ahead and think about that though. That would be a problem. And I guess we're just gonna try and wing it with the knowledge of crocheting we have. Because we don't really have any actual crocheting left to do per se. Now it's more just attachments. Gotta add the squirrel's tail to it. I think I have a general good enough knowledge of crocheting at this point to just know what to do. We're gonna find out. Hey, what's up, CT? Thanks for joining the broadcast. Nothing much, just trying to kill some time. How's your day going? So, crocheting this guy. See how he's got the curly tail? I have him crocheted. I have the tail pretty much crocheted. I still gotta curl it up and attach it to him. So that's what we're doing now. My lady is in physical therapy at the moment. We're going to spend the evening with my brother after this. And where we have to drive to go spend the evening with my brother, this is like halfway from where our house is, so yeah, hanging out in the car, save gas and time. Well, I don't know how much gas it actually saves because I'm not going to sit in here with no heat. Still using some gas, but definitely saves us time. And yeah, so since I've got to just hang out and wait for her to get done, figured I'd go live for a bit while I did some crocheting. And I got to try and get that content out there. I used to regularly release content, but ever since what happened with my brother, I don't really have time to edit the content. I do have time to like record it and edit it, over long periods of time. But instead, in my free time, me and my lady watch TV. Uh-oh, that's not good. Me and my lady watch TV. I like to play video games. So yeah, it's just my content something's got to go in the back seat for a bit while all this is going on. And content creating is the thing I've decided to take a back seat in life. So I still go live on YouTube and broadcast video games on Twitch. So that's the only content I'm releasing at the moment. But I do have, did I do it again? It sounds like I did. I like went through a different threads and it's like real tight. Hello, update. Did he? Oh no. Definitely no baby oil over here. Why am I missing this hole? Come on. Yeah, I do have a bunch of content already created. A good chunk of it is like broadcasts, so it's long content. But I do have some short content, game clips, unboxing videos. Mainly do those because my nieces and nephews like them. I have a bunch of things to unbox. Just, like I said, don't ever have time to record any of that stuff. Because, yeah, it's, again, something's got to take a back seat. Got to be stuck on a thread somewhere. There we go. But as per usual, open most conversations. I say most because people on the internet can be weird. And just in case I haven't said it since you've joined the broadcast, I want to thank everyone for joining the broadcast. I appreciate it. I hope everybody's doing well today. Got the tail nice and sealed up, so none of the cotton comes out here. Now we gotta wrap it up. But I think I need a different piece of thread to do it. Well, thread, yarn. I need a piece of yarn. Because that's what it is yarn. Gotta get out my trusty little yarn cutters. Pretty sure I need about forearm length of yarn is usually what they recommend for these kind of things. So I always try and do a little bit longer because much rather have too much than not enough. Now we got a piece of yarn here. Don't want to leave these choppy things open, so they come with this nice little guard. Keep me from stabbing myself when I'm pulling stuff out of my yarn tin. Because that'll definitely end crocheting pretty quick, getting blood all over the yarn. Only want to do that if I'm like yarning a psychopath or something. Yarning crocheting. Got some cotton stuck here. But yeah, open to pretty much all conversations. Say pretty much all because you internet people can be weird. Not that I'm not weird, but inappropriate weird. So I think what we want to do, pull through here. Leave a few inch yarn tail. Fold this guy over. This is turning out to be a bit harder than I expected it, but it's not surprising with the stupid here. Doesn't do a great job of listening and holding things in places the way you should. Guessing CT left, otherwise they would still be talking. They're usually talkative with me. And obviously Update was just trying to be a weirdo. Kind of looks crooked when I look at it on camera. I think that's the way it's supposed to look. Oh, there's supposed to be more of a like a curve to the tail. That's not a big deal though, that's an easy fix. Because we just go ahead and pull on this thread a couple of times. And boom. Back to reset. So it's got to be more like a curve thing. I glanced at the instructions for this. Hello, Mark. Can you explain why that person said Diddy to me? Or are you just adding on to their joke? Let's see here. I want it to be like that. That. Okay, I think I know how I gotta do it. First we gotta thread the needle, since now I can actually think of the proper words to do things. I guess that's the new starting place. That's fine. I'll take that as a no. You're just trying to add on to whatever the joke is supposed to be. That's alright though. Why would I care about a joke that I don't understand being made? Affects me absolutely none. I do appreciate you joining the broadcast though, even if you are just trying to troll. I'm alright. Very drained. A lot going on in my life / my family. right before Thanksgiving. So I think that Thanksgiving is like November 24th this year. It's like the 22nd. My brother had a really bad asthma attack. It caused his lungs to shut down, which caused his heart to shut down, which caused his brain to shut down. His brain went without oxygen for about 20 minutes. And yeah, because of that, part of his brain died. So now he is doing much better. He was in a coma for, I don't know, like 2 weeks. But he can move his legs a bit now. He can move his arms. He doesn't have much control, like finer control over his hands, but he can move his hands a bit. He's made tons of like progress since it's happened. I appreciate you saying I'm sorry. It is definitely a hard time, but he is doing extremely well in, the whole grand scheme of things. It's just, part of trying to be there for him all the time, and as well as still live life that's gotta still be lived, you know, a bit stretched thin, because, yeah, it's, me and my lady are both disabled. That's where I am now, is sitting in the car while she's at physical therapy before we go and hang out with my brother. And taking care of him is a little hard. It's getting better now that he can move his body more. It makes it a bit easier that he can do a bit more, obviously. But the real big issue of it isn't the time or the physical aspect. The big issue is I'm running out of money, as in I've ran out of money. I have about $40 to last me the rest of the month. I've been using my credit card for most things. My credit card's now above $800. I am disabled, as I just said. I have cerebral palsy in my right arm and leg. Because of my own medical issues, I haven't been working. So right now, I get SSI from the state. I get about $940, I think. I would have to pull up my bank account and look at the exact number. And I can usually make that last because I'm real lucky with the support system I do have. My oldest brother lets me live in his house for only $300 a month. It's a third of what I get, but it's also cheaper than anywhere else I could live. That helps a lot, but with everything that's going on, because we try and be there with my brother as much as we can, which is, at least 4 or 5 days out of the week, if not the whole week. Yeah, we're eating out way more. Partially because my brother doesn't he's at a rehab facility, and it's a place that's mainly for older people. Something that kind of sucks about the situation we're in right now. It's not the best place for him particularly, but so a lot of their foods are things that he doesn't really like, and with the situation he's in, it's better to let him have a choice in something, and what he eats is the main thing he can choose. So we try and, most nights he does eat, some nights what they give him, but no, most nights he wants some kind of fast food or pizza or something of the sort. And because we're out, we'll be leaving from physical therapy there. Physical therapy started at 3:30. It's usually about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, so we'll be leaving here about 5 o'clock. So, we'll both be hungry and want to get dinner, so we'll be eating, fast food as well. So, we are spending more money than we usually do because we're eating out all the time instead of grocery shopping, because that's another thing. It's hard to carve out time for grocery shopping when we have doctor's appointments all the time, as well as my girlfriend does work uh, 2 days out of the week. So, like, it's Monday today. We had 4 doctor's appointments today. We have, I think, 3 or 4 Wednesday and then 3 or 4 Friday. All in all, he is doing phenomenally. He hasn't like lost any. His brain is still repairing itself, so there is some times where he can't, like, he loses focus, or he thinks it's been 3 hours and it's actually only been an hour, things like that. But for the most part, he's there. Anytime you ask him about something to remember, he remembers most things, as most adults do. There's totally things that one of me or my other siblings brought up to him that happened in childhood that we happen to remember, but he did not. That's not an unreasonable thing. But yeah, all in all, he is doing awesome. Like, he is doing great. The like worst thing about the situation is, again, because of the way, like, how quickly the situation went, and because he didn't have insurance from like the start of this, we had to get him on state insurance and things like that. He ended up getting put into a place that isn't designed for someone like him. Like, it does help, but he should be in a place that does more intensive, like, physical therapy. Like, right now, because it's a majority of the people that are there, at least that I see, are all at least over the age of 60. Um, and some of them are just like short stays, like my brother. He's only supposed to be there for like, or at least we don't really know full long-term plan, because again, we just got him on state insurance and it's a whole thing. He has 45 days of physical therapy and 100 days of just in the rehab. He's used up like 3 weeks. We didn't find this out until we've already used a good chunk of the days that he would have had insurance paying. So we kind of got screwed in that sense of just not being informed well enough. And yeah, he got put into a place that, though it's a decent place and I'm sure is very helpful for the people who, like, older people who are there, but it's just not designed for a 34-year-old who has some brain damage. Because, like, everybody there gets like 30 to 45 minutes of PT, and whatever allotted day they have it to help with their ailments and whatnot. But that's because, they're all older, so they do less. Where Chad should be in more intensive therapy, where he's getting, 3 hours of therapy every single day. He's made tons and tons of progress with just the half an hour to 45 minutes of PT he gets a day, which he doesn't even get every single day. Some days he doesn't get PT at all. So yeah, it's just, if he was in a bit of a better facility, he would be making way more progress than what he was. But he's still, he's still got a long road ahead of him, but he's doing awesomely. It's just, like I said, we're starting to get stretched thin money-wise, time as well, because we have a lot of nieces and nephews we like to go see, and, obviously, like, friends, as well as just, like, going grocery shopping, things like that. But that is a secondary concern with everything that's going on. In the long run of things, it does have to change soon, because we can't keep putting off the things we have been putting off. Like, I still have a couple days of clothes, and she has plenty of clothes. But we have a pile of clothes in our bedroom that, is a pile of clothes. I say our bedroom. She only stays with me a couple nights a week. She actually lives with her dad. She stayed a few more nights weekly as of late, because, again, we're at the rehab all the time, that kind of stuff, but we don't actually live together. Sadly, we are not married. I would like to get married one day, but since we're both disabled and get help from the state, us getting married messes with both our benefits that we can't risk messing with. Because, yeah, like, so she's overall doing good. She's also getting spread thin mentally and also financially, but she has a lot more going on with her than I do. I was born with cerebral palsy because I was born 3 months premature. She's just had a bad luck of a bit of like genetics and um, medicine. So she had really bad asthma as a teenager, so they use these steroids to help her breathe. In less than 1% of people who use these steroids, a thing called necrosis happens to their joints. And my lady had the bad luck of that happening to her. So she is 37. She just turned 37 a few weeks ago now. Um, she's had both her hips replaced. She's gonna have to have both her knees replaced, both her elbows, and both her ankles. Except when we went and seen an ankle specialist, he said that her left ankle, I think it is so dead, there's no good bone for them to anchor a replacement to. So it's just gonna one day cave in on her foot. Like her ankle's just gonna, oops, not gonna crochet over, her ankle's just gonna kind of drop down because there's gonna be nothing good to hold it up. She has to wait until she's in absolutely unbearable pain for all of these joints to be replaced because hips can last like 30 to 35 years. So she's only going to have to get her hips replaced maybe one more time in her life. Um, but all her other joints, they only last about 10 years. So for her to get them replaced now, she's going to get 4 or 5 replacements throughout her life. And that's real hard on the human body. So she's been advised to do absolutely everything she can to just deal with the pain a bit until, um, yeah, she just absolutely cannot stand it anymore. Because, yeah, if she gets it done now, she's going through many surgeries through her life. She's also has HS, which is shortened for this really big word that I have a hard time pronouncing, so I'm not even going to try. But it's basically a skin condition that causes like boils. Um, she has Crohn's. She has anxiety and depression, partially because of everything she's gone through in her life. She used to be an able-bodied person. A decade ago, she was going to school to become, I can't think, a nurse basically, but like a specific title. Um, but yeah, because her body ended up going the route that it has, she's not able to even. She spent like 4.5, 5 years in college. She can't use that knowledge because she can't do, you know, most of the things that someone in her position would have to do. And she also can't, like she only works 4 hours. She works 2 days a week for 4 hours each shift because that's as long as she can, like be on her feet and, doing things, you know what I mean? Like it's hard for her to be on her feet for that long. So yeah, but she is an absolute champ. It's one of the reasons why I fell in love with her, is she is such a strong person, to have what's happened to her and still have like the outlook she does have for the most part, because she does deal with depression, so that gets to her. But she handles her life extremely well. I look up to her so much because of the way she's handled her whole situation. Um, so though you know, it has been hard on her, and much like I have, in the last like half a decade, she's had a lot of people pass away, including her mom. So she's had a real rough time going, and she's a champ. She takes it all without having the anger that I feel like if I was in the position she was to where she is now, her anger is understandable if she had it, but she doesn't. She chooses not to. And yeah, like I said, it's one of the reasons I absolutely fell in love with her, because of her strength of character. She is one of the best people I know, and I am super lucky to have her in my life and her let me be in hers. Um, though we aren't married, as long as I have the say in it, and that say is as long as she lets me have a say in it. Um, yeah, as long as she wants to be with me, I definitely want to be with her, and I can't wait to spend my life with her. Sorry, started rambling there. Kind of do that. It's why usually when I go live I like color, or I was doing a Deadpool and Wolverine trivia book. I've now like crocheted a couple of times. Done this whole kill time while she's at physical therapy to go spend the evening with my brother. And I do appreciate you joining the conversation and asking me how she's doing and how I'm doing. It's very nice of you. There it is. Scroll is hard up. And I am open to any questions you may have about any of the things I have said. Because, as I always say, I'm open to most questions. Alright, now we got the tail done. Now, we gotta boop. But I think he's like supposed to have it like that, kind of. Might need to be a little bit down. I'm gonna have to look at the picture. I didn't get the tail as good as the picture. But I've only been doing this for, I don't know, just under a year. I want to say like 10 months or something like that. So I'm still very new to it. And having cerebral palsy, some of the things get a little difficult. My lady also tells me I always pull too tight on most of my crochet stitches. Because, yeah, I want it to look nice and tight. Because that's just what I want out of my crochets. And she is right, it does sometimes mess up the form. Almost dropped my tray. I call it a tray. It's a tin lid. Forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I don't ever really get them straight. It's like I 100% mess up on the ears because I did kind of what I'm doing now and just like sped through the directions because it's like video directions real quick and then did it and didn't realize I was supposed to do one more step with the ears that I didn't do when I sewed them on. See, they're supposed to be that like this circular ears. Yeah, I didn't do the final step to make them circular. I just put them on there, and now we just got these little stumps for ears, which I still feel like work. And I also, at least because this is part of the Advent calendar, the Wobbles, that's the brand that I think it says it. It's probably hard to see. I'm trying to hide the code because you don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, it's part of the Advent calendar, which I do plan on. I've recorded opening each box, and I do plan on releasing those eventually. Just like I said, content editing isn't something I'm really focusing on for a while. So I'm going to have content and creating content. I am going to get back to editing it eventually, but with what's going on with my brother, it's just not a priority. I'd have to take a bit of a back seat. But yeah, I still have been recording opening these boxes, and then when opening, I generally give examples of my past ones. Well, we'll see. Like I said, I'm recording certain things I haven't edited yet. We'll figure out the way it's going to look after editing, when I edit it. But yeah, I've been, for each one of these anyways, I've been putting a little like my own touch on each one. it was an accidental touch, but the ears are what I decided to be part of the touch. And now, just because I'm, not as good as who actually made this thing and then mass produced and sold and made probably millions off of these things, the tail didn't come out as good, but it'll still work out. I also think because they like have the tail like be up against his back like this, I think that his tail more be come out like that. I don't know. Maybe that does look a bit better. It says I have zero viewers right now, so I can't even ask anybody who's watching, hey, what do you think? Like this or like this? Like this or like this? Like this or like this? There's nobody there. It's just me talking to myself. Usually I do my crocheting when like watching TV. I tried to like crochet for the camera once. Actually, it's like I think it was the very first live I did. I tried to do that, and yeah, because of stupid, which is what I call my right hand, and yeah, I couldn't like comfortably do it in front of the camera. That's what she said. But so yeah, crocheting just became the hobby of mine that I do off camera, because I also tried to like do a couple videos of recording me crocheting, but then decided that I like to generally have something to watch or listen to while I crochet. These times are exceptions because I want to try and still go live regularly, because if I'm not releasing content to help grow my following, I should at least be going live to release that content, because it is content, not the content. I used to have a whole daily schedule. This content, Mondays this, Tuesdays this, Wednesdays this, Thursdays this, Fridays this, Saturday, Sunday. Weekends were for game clips. Saturday and Sundays I did game clips. Mondays. See, and I only got like started to do this schedule. I was probably like 3 weeks into the schedule when all of this happened. But Mondays were Reddit reads, as were Fridays. Tuesdays and Thursdays were there were skits for a while, because I did some skits, and then I don't know if I started doing game clips to just fill those days while I was creating more. I think I did that for a week, maybe 2 weeks. And then, yeah, weekend was game clips. But with everything that's going on with my brother, I haven't been sticking to content creating like I was. So now I try and go live as regular as possible, because, yeah, trying to create that content, get that growth, I would love to make money from doing stuff on the internet. It's extremely unlikely that's ever going to happen, but I also enjoy doing it, and yeah, why not do something I enjoy, call it a hobby. I don't need to make money from it. I don't expect for it to be like my career. It's just something I started doing while I partially figure out some of my physical issues, because my cerebral palsy caused me a lot of pain. I don't sleep, things like that. And I also got to figure out what I want to like go to school for, because yeah, all the jobs that I am kind of qualified for / have experience for are more physical than my body can handle. Like I was an assistant manager at Dollar Tree for just under 2 years, and I did overnight stocking at Walmart for like 3 or 4 months. That's when I like messed up my hip. What I have is a labral tear. It's a piece of muscle you have in like right in the middle of your hip, I believe, give or take. One on each side. Most people apparently do get tears in these muscles, but it's such a small, fine tear, it doesn't really like affect most people. You know, you might feel a little sore the first time it happens, but then it's, you know, your body just copes because it's not that big of a deal and you just move on and it's never an issue. But mine has like torn a lot to the point to where I either um, get shots into my hip every like 6 months, 7 months, which it's been actually like 9 months since I got the shots. It's probably why my hip's been hurting so bad lately. Well, that and all the stress and stuff. Or I have to have surgery where they cut the tear out of the muscle and then they stitch that back together. And then I got to go through a bunch of physical therapy while the muscle rebuilds itself and things like that. Probably going to go with the shots for a while until they don't help at all. Because, yeah, who wants to go through surgery? Let's see if we can't get this tail on. Yeah, that's the hope that I can make some money one day. Like I said, it's not really the goal because it's such an unlikely thing, especially, so, you know, most people who do end up making decent money at content creating are either have like a, you know, marketable skill or started off with good capital to begin with, which is the more common case. You know, most influencers come from decent off families. You know, we're part of the reason why we're in the situation with my brother is that we're not well off. We're all pretty strapped when it comes to money and things. And yeah, that made us have to put him in this kind of subpar position that he's in because this place is not very good. I've had multiple of the CNRNAs, I forget their exact titles, because, you know, they're people. Dee Dee's one I like. Latoya's nice. Meryl, I don't really like her. A couple of the people have told me, oh, I'm not going to move him back and forth between his chair and his bed every time he wants to be changed, because it'll hurt my back. And I do get not wanting to, you know, have to move him, you know, every 20 minutes from one to the other. But that's not what is ever asked. It's literally just when you change him. Yeah, they're like, oh, it hurts my back. And I'm like, well, that sucks that it hurts your back. But if your back can't take this physical job, then you should look into a different job. But they started working at this place with it being, you know, older people who, for the most part, can take care of themselves and don't need someone to move them from a chair to a bed. And the ones that do are generally smaller because, you know, they're older people. As you get older, you shrink. And they also don't do great portions there. That's part of the issue with my brother wanting to eat there is he's supposed to get double portions and they don't ever send him the double portions. So it's not enough food for someone his age slash size. Your wife makes $150 in an hour. That's cool. I would love to make $150 an hour with social media. And I might one day. But it is definitely not the goal because, yeah, it's possible, but not likely just because of the priority of different things I have in my life at the moment. I can't prioritize, like I said, content creation and stuff the way that I should. trying to get, what is his name? Ace? Ace the squirrel. Trying to get him crocheted on. Well, his tail. Because that's all I got left to do with him. And then I can move on to the next one. I do enjoy crocheting. It's a hobby I like. It would have been cool to have gotten into this hobby earlier in life, but it's not that big of a deal that I didn't. The hobby that I recently got about a year and a half ago that I regret not having more in my life was reading comics. Really enjoy reading Marvel comics. I'm going to move over to DC eventually, but that's a long time away because right now I'm reading through all the original Spider-Man comics because I want to read the Spider-Verse event because I love the movies. And yeah, it starts off, little spoiler here, at the end of the original, like, 616 universe's Peter Parker, like how his story ends is how, well, right after how his story ends is how the Spider-Verse event begins. Which, spoiler, if you don't want to hear, might want to like mute me for a minute or something. But Doc Ock, cannot find where I did this yarn. Doc Ock switches his consciousness with Peter Parker because he figures out Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and because he's dying because of his arms, not only because, you know, they made his brain go crazy and made him into the evil supervillain that is Doc Ock, they give him cancer to where like he's dying. So he switches his consciousness with Peter Parker. I actually don't think he knows he's Spider-Man at that point. Again, I don't exactly know how it happened because I started reading The Spectacular Spider-Man, which is when the start of the event and when Doc Ock takes over in Peter Parker's body. Yeah, it starts off talking about how that happens. And I was like, oh, well, that's some crazy stuff for like the original Peter Parker. He just dies of cancer in Doc Ock's body. That's insane. So I gotta see how that happens. And because I was like, why not? I started reading it from the beginning. Because, you know, why not start a story at the beginning? Yeah. Story started in like 1963, I think, was the first comic. Might be 1962, something like that. I forget when it started, but I'm now in 1985. I've taken a little bit of a break from Spider-Man, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago now, because I got to 1985, which is when the comic series Web of Spider-Man starts, and I use Marvel Unlimited to read comics. They only have, like, they have a chunk, like 42 issues of the entire series, but it's like they have the first issue, the third issue, the sixth issue, the 29th issue, and then it randomly jumps just like that, like throughout the series. And I've been reading the entire series in order. I want to keep doing that. Web of Spider-Man is part of the series, so I've wanted to keep reading from that point, but they don't have it all on the app, so I've been on a bit of a pause, hoping they either add more or I figure out a different way to read the series. My lady's physical therapy is over, so she's in here. So sadly, I'm gonna have to go. I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in. I truly appreciate it. Appreciate it if you check out my page. Enjoy my content, throw me a follow. It's the best way to know when I am going live because I just do randomly. I also go live on Twitch under the same name, Powerful Swagger, spelled the same way. Appreciate it if you check that out as well. All those videos do make it onto my YouTube though, so you could just stay here. Again, I want to thank everyone for tuning into this broadcast. I hope you have a wonderful day, and remember, try to be kind out there.